Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you might be in the world today, and welcome back for yet another episode of Be Your Best 2015, the February showing. And we are so excited and delighted to have you joining us again today. And what I want to do first and foremost is just extend a major thank you to all of our followers, all of our listeners, all of our supporters that have just been getting behind this Be Your Best 2015 movement, where we're destined to connect, correct, and climb. And I guarantee you today is going to be such an amazing event that first and foremost, I need you to help us out and help somebody else that might be in need of a message of hope and inspiration to go ahead and, you know the drill, hit one of the share buttons up above the broadcast window. Do it once, do it twice. Heck, if it gets good to you, you can do it 3 or 4 times. But please, go ahead, share this, pay it forward, tell them that we're about to go live with Be Your Best 2015, the February edition. I also want to invite you to come on over to the Be Your Best 2015 Facebook group. It's public. You don't even have to ask to join. Just come on over, join us, engage with us, not only for this broadcast, but all throughout the month. And I guarantee you that you'll be blessed, you'll be inspired, you'll be uplifted and enriched in ways that you can never imagine. And so that being said, I want to make sure that my co-host is there. Lady D, are you there?
Mic check, mic check. I'm in the house. I'm excited about the guest that we have today and just looking forward to this show. I mean, I wait for this all month to work with great speakers, again, to work with you on another project. So I am excited. So again, as Ed mentioned, click the share button. You know it's right at the top. Then this box is going to come. And then you put your message in there and just share it. Pay it forward. Today we have some speakers that are just phenomenal, and they are going to drop some nuggets for you that could possibly change your life. So stay tuned.
All right, all right, all right. So there's the delightful Lady D, the wonderful, the best co-host on the East Coast. And coming up next, we have the great fortune to have with us today a young lady that I met a couple of months ago that is just absolutely stunning by no measure. I mean, there's just so many different things that she's amazing for. I'm going to share a formal, slightly improvised bio because there's just so many things that she's engaged in, and she's just an awesome person. Her name is Yvette Pegues, and Yvette MED is celebrated worldwide for her first responder efforts in helping neighbors and nations from Haiti to Oklahoma in the face of crisis situations. Yvette is recognized as one of the nation's leading authorities in traumatic brain injury and Arnold Chiari malformation. She has used her brain injury survivorship experience to train, integrate, educate, and rebuild for severely injured people to overcome trauma, rebuild their lives, family, and community. Yvette began working primarily in schools alongside teachers serving children with disabilities. Today, her adaptability expertise is critical to corporate diversity training, military reintegration, and construction accessibility. She is also Center for Leadership. She sits on the Center for Leadership and Disability Advisory Board at Georgia State University. I mean, the accolades just go on and on. And as you will see, not only has she been just amazing and a trooper in all of the different obstacles that she deals with and has dealt with, but she does it in such a delightful way. So I'm not going to steal too much more of her thunder, and I'm going to introduce to some of you and to reintroduce to others the magnificent, the wonderful Miss Yvette Pegues. Yvette, are you there? Mic check, mic check.
I am. Can you hear me okay?
We got you fine.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mr. Romack. That was quite an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. And I really thank you, each and every one of you that are either on the call or facilitating this project to invite me to speak. I'm grateful to everyone who's listening in as well. So as Ed may have mentioned, my life has changed quite a bit in 3 years. And so the question I have to you is, are you prepared for a life change, whether it's personal, professional, and even parental with new members of your family joining? That question didn't mean much to me 3 or 4 years ago. Let me tell you what my life looked like then, and then we'll fast forward. Well, 3 years ago, I was actually a networking and systems engineer at International Business Machines, IBM. And for the age group that I speak to sometimes, I mention that they were the Apple of today's time. But it's a very high-level technical engineering job that I got right out of college, flew from my home state, which is Florida, to live here in Georgia to work. The beauty of that job is I traveled 90%. I was able to climb the corporate ladder quite quickly, make very close alliances with my executive team until I became a worldwide program delivery manager. Now, right around that time, I also took a trip to Haiti right after the earthquake so that I can help, really. And I went with the medical team, and my concern was that I didn't have any medical background and was really afraid of the sight of blood. But when I got there, I realized that my 5 languages proved to be very helpful. And so I was planning my life. My life really was pretty amazing with 2 small children. And the opportunity I had waiting for me when I got home was to actually enter into an inaugural program at Harvard, which was an EDLD, Leadership Development Program. So our life was really headed in a direction that I thought was amazing. And then life changed. It literally changed within minutes, moments, if you will. My entire right side went numb. I traveled to the emergency room, and they thought it was a stroke. Then they aged out of that and said I was probably too young for that. Maybe it's MS, and they were really not sure how to diagnose this acquired brain injury until they had an MRI done. And they recognized that I had a physical disability at birth, very close to spina bifida, and as Ed mentioned, it's called Chiari malformation. So the question is, what do you do next? I couldn't go back to work. My left brain was my logical, scientific, and bread and butter. It really was. And what I realized was, after going through rehabilitation, that I had lost, quote, administrative function. So I want to just share with you what happened next. What happened next was scary. It really was. And I found myself talking myself off of a ledge, literally, after every doctor's appointment, because the prognosis was unclear. It's a very uncommon genetic disorder, which was exaggerated by the traumatic acquired injury of my brain literally falling into my spine. So I really did have to reinvent myself. The beauty of the reinvention is that I realized there was always a gift sitting right next to me in my birth womb when I was born that had never been open. You see, I put so much time and emphasis on my skills and my knowledge, basically my degree and all of the connections that I had. I never stopped to open my gifts, something I was actually born with. And those were the, ironically, right brain soft communication skills that allows me to have a conversation with you today. I meet a lot of people and they see me in a wheelchair and their assumption is, okay, so your disability is physical. But what they don't understand is, because of the dysfunction of the reconnecting of the neurons and all that technical stuff, my left brain is still healing and I can no longer function scientifically, and I do still have chronic pain. But it's all really about attitude, and it's also about your legacy. So I'm able now to reach back and communicate with a lot of people that I knew at IBM. And so what I've done with that is I've continued to not just share my skills, but my time, my gifts, my treasures with other children who have disabilities and help families who are either parenting with a disability. And unbeknownst to me, people were watching. Trust that whatever you do and wherever you go, people are watching. And one of the people who were watching contacted me and asked me to try out for a local pageant. Okay, so that blew my mind, only because I'd never been in a pageant. I totally was against the bikini contest. And I realized after further conversation that the Miss Wheelchair organization is only one of 2 organizations that celebrates women with disabilities. So I had the opportunity to try out for Miss Georgia, which is where I reside, and I won that back in April of last year. I qualified now for a national competition that took place in Ohio. The city is called Cuyahoga Falls, near Akron, and I have the opportunity now to compete against other women who had won their state titles who also had a disability and was able to reinvent themselves or find parts of themselves that had always been there and never, ever utilized it, much like myself. Fast forward, I'm currently the Miss Wheelchair USA recipient for 2014 and 15. The first woman of color, first minority, and the first time that the crown has been in Georgia. That's important to know because each and every one of you are creating a legacy today. Legacy does not start tomorrow. And the beauty of that is I was able to apply and create my own service platform. Pretty much, what do you believe in? What will you do for the next year during your term to leave the world different than you found it? My platform is called A Legacy of Literacy. And this legacy of literacy and literature helps children between the ages of 7 to 17, sometimes older because of mental age groups for people with disabilities. We don't just help them write the book, we help them get their books published. The beauty in that is I have the experience. Throughout my recovery, my 5 and 7-year-old were able to write and publish a book about living with a parent that has a disability, and it's very much focused on the brain, but more than anything, it's about the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. As so few people know about ADA, and neither did I until actually I had the brain injury. So it's really important for people to understand the ADA only because it's the only minority where just about every person will likely experience. Why is that? That's because you can go from standing to sitting, and sometimes worse, for any injury, illness, sickness, or you just may age into a situation where you need a device to help you move and manage your lifestyle. Now, how has this helped me as a person? Well, I will tell you that I've been able to discover so many skills that were unused because I was forced to. So I got up and I was able to live forward. And through that, I encourage others to do the same, to the point where I've been asked to do workshops, which I do, and I'm happy to do that. But as Ed mentioned in the introduction, I'm also in schools. That's my passion. Because I have a strong corporate background, I'm also at different organizations that I actually used to consult with, and now they are my clients and customers. So I love to spread the word and share the importance of understanding diversity. So you may be in a corporate setting where you assume diversity has to do with gender, but it also has to do with your physical accompaniment and so many other things. So tolerance is so important. Consider disability an insurance policy that you want to learn as much about beforehand, because if you don't experience a disability at some point, you may find someone in your family in that unplanned situation, and it's horrible. But I am excited about paving the way for those to come, just like 25 years ago, the people who started and demanded that we have an inclusive society. And so I just want to take pause after I share with you the fact that my admission to Harvard was more about what I did for others. My GPA was great and that was fine, but getting connected to people requires that you get in the face and in the environment of people. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. So with that, I get to spend the next year traveling the country, sharing the Americans with Disabilities Act. I had the opportunity to be on the Doctor Show. I'm currently on the U.S. government website, and we have lots of other opportunities upcoming. So I did get to meet the First Lady, and I will be in Washington this year. So it's really important, and it was for me, to change the image of disability, because we all have an image of something. We're all stereotyped in one way or another. but live forward and recognize that while I have multiple obvious prescription disabilities, unless you think you're perfect or you've lived a perfect life and you've never had any issues in your lifetime, we all have a, a type of disability, if you will, that keeps us from our greater good. That's why I'm so excited about this organization, that Be Your Best 2015, because it helps you to pick those out, and to manage them, and you get to meet people who are living in different lifestyles and within their disabilities, regardless of whether it's stage fright or the fear of talking or flying, anything that would hold you back from being your best. So with that, Ed, I'd like to just pause for a moment and see if there are any questions or if there's anything you'd like me in particular to speak on.
Oh my goodness. Well, I told you guys you were in for a phenomenal treat today, Yvette. You are as amazing as I tried to tell them. And thank you so much for your transparency. Thank you for, sharing not only just about your setbacks, but also the ways that you've actually injected yourself even more so into a totally different aspect of things, almost unexpectedly. And as I was looking at Chiari malformation, it's a very rare encounter, but those people that run into you or meet you, like myself, are changed forever. So when you go into organizations, can you kind of help us understand, first and foremost, what's your mindset or what's your objective when you go into organizations? I think you kind of talked about the service element of things, which we all know is the rent we pay to be on this planet. But help me understand how your mindset has changed from when you were an IBM engineer, a very highly functioning IBM engineer, to how you go into engagements or into your meetings today.
That's a really good question. When I go into corporate America, I like to come in at a training level to speak with managers and business owners, not just about their patrons who have disabilities, but their employees who are functioning within the workplace and the marketplace with a disability. And so there are a lot, how do I put it? There's a lot of risk, obviously, with having anyone in a physical building, but the thing that I like to communicate to HR, diversity groups, management teams, is you don't want your company to be exposed. So, the bean counter, checking boxes is really not enough. It helps with the letter of the law, but the actual viability of your establishment is so important. So I do something called a facilities health check, and that's more of a physical look at your common area, if that's the first place you want to start. But I find myself mostly speaking to managers. How do you speak with your employee? Of course, there's so many limitations and liabilities about how much you tell your employer, and the disclosure, it has to be both ways. So you need to make sure that there are resources available within your organization to support someone with a disability. And a lot of organizations, they have the team or the department, but it's not exercised. So when you have someone with a disability who's willing to talk about it and needs special accommodations, that's really important as an employer. As a business owner, it costs probably about 40 to 60% more to erect your building to make sure that you get those handicap parking spaces and automatic doors and all those other things. But the return on the investment is amazing because people with disabilities want to get out. We want to spend money with you. We want to spend time in your workplace and do our best work. So it's really not about being special. It's about being included.
Being included. Awesome, awesome. Now, one other thing that I want you to expound upon, which I actually encountered at one of our Toastmaster meetings, and it was actually during the International Speech Contest, and you used the obvious fact that you were disabled, but the nugget that you dropped on us. And for you guys that are out there, please go ahead and post any nuggets or takeaways or any questions that you have for Yvette. But this one piece I need you to expound on. You said that some of us don't realize that it's not the physical disabilities that are a real big deal. It's the invisible disabilities. Can you share with our audience a little bit on that one, Yvette?
Absolutely, Ed. Only 25% of the disabled community have, physical, obvious disabilities. Like they don't have walking devices, they don't have hearing aids. You wouldn't be able to look at them and know that they have greater needs. And my goal, and once I found out that I had more than just a physical disability, that I had um, like mental and emotional and cognitive disabilities and the chronic pain, I opened my doors to everyone with a disability. And the name of the organization is Your Invisible Disability. And the Your ID group helps people who have disabilities that they have to almost like prove to people because they're invisible. And it's a very
Right.
difficult place to
Right.
be, you would imagine, right? Who wants to pretend to be this sick or this needy or in this position? So invisible disabilities, if you want to think about it a little closer to home, we have our militaries, families who are coming home with CPTSD and PTSD, all the gradations of autism. I mean, even some of the chronic diseases that you hear about, like diabetes. I mean, whenever an accommodation has to be made for you to be your best 2015, that is very likely an invisible disability. And you're right, Ed, I did mention it earlier because it may not be on a prescription pad, but you know you best. And listen to your body, listen to your limitations, and ask questions. I wasn't even on Facebook until I started Your Invisible Disability Group because in order to present to people who have these names, I needed to create a presence. Because to be honest, Ed, for the first year and a half, I was embarrassed. I did not want to be seen in a wheelchair. It wasn't cute, it wasn't sexy, it wasn't functional, but this wheelchair is now a part of my body. It's part of who I am. These are my legs. And so I am celebrating my disability
Yeah.
and helping others to do the same. Disability can look normal, you know, and I've been asked a couple times while I sit in my chair, are you really disabled or are you just sitting in that chair? Which is the best compliment that you can ever be given, because after a few minutes of speaking, the disability in the wheelchair should disappear.
Disappear. And I can say that I can honestly say that I had that transformation of thought. I'm like, I saw you roll in, and as soon as you opened your mouth, I'm like, what chair? So you are absolutely one to be looked upon as a pillar of strength, and we continue to support the activities and look forward to engaging and collaborating in some of the additional activities and things that are going on because you're so busy. It's just amazing. And I know it's all about service, and so
It is. It
we
is.
really thank you so much for carving out some time. She's at the University of Georgia today, folks, and she carved out time to hang out with us, and we just are so grateful for that. So let's check and see if we have any questions in the Facebook group. Lady D, anything in the Facebook group? Any questions out there?
Yes, it was actually a great post that said, it was a takeaway, and I'm going to read it exactly. It said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I thought that was just a phenomenal statement because most people don't think about how other people see they care or not. They just want to learn more, learn more, learn more. But you have all this knowledge, but do you really care about the people who the knowledge is benefiting? That was a powerful statement. So, Yvette, I commend you for everything that you're doing. Your service in the community is just an awesome thing. And like you said, I never thought about, and I'm going to post this too, about the invisible disabilities. We never really think about those. We normally look for, the wheelchairs and the walk. Invisible disabilities are the can be the strongest one sometimes. So again, I commend you for everything that you're doing in the community, and I mean, it's just an awesome thing. So thank you again for carving out time to hang out with us. Ed and I were just grateful that you were able to do so. So again, thank you so much.
That's pretty awesome. Thank you. This is an amazing platform. And I want to be able to mention to some people something you just said, which is really important. The disability community is dark. It's dark because a lot of people are in depression. A lot of people don't understand their disability. And it's really about education. And Robin Williams, understanding he had Parkinson's disease, was literally the trigger that had him create suicide. And there's a lot that we can talk about in that area, but learn about your disability. And, I just want to close out, just in case there aren't any questions, and quickly say that my experience was easily transferred into bibliotherapy. So not only did my boys publish a book, I also published a book. And the reason for that book is really the 4 4s for newly diagnosed and disabled persons. Because if I could do it again, I'd do a lot more differently. I wasted a lot of time in my first year of disability, and I'm teaching my children, and I've taught myself, spend 80% on the solution and only 20% on the problem, and you will live a full and amazing life. I have an amazing life with 2 beautiful children and an amazing husband, and I expect so much more to be used for God's will, His kingdom, and any resource that I can partake going forward.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it again. Once again, Be Your Best 2015 is off to a phenomenal start, and you know we are all about connecting, correcting, and climbing. And Yvette's very humble. She's very diligent in her service, and she probably is not or was not going to mention this, but I would be remiss and would not be walking in the purpose for which I'm on this planet if I did not have Yvette share this with you. So Yvette, right now you've got a crowdfunding event going on. It's going to help you be a little more mobile within your residence, and it's such a great honor to have you on because of all the service that you do for everyone else. But as we pay it forward and want to try and pay it back, could you share with people the link to go to your online GoFundMe or crowdfunding that's going on right now, please?
I will, and thank you for mentioning that, because you're right, I probably wouldn't have. But a good friend of mine recognized that I have a 3-story house and no legs. So to get up and down the stairs and to be available in an emergency if my children had one on a different floor would really be detrimental. So we did start a GoFundMe, and it's www.gofundme.com/help Yvette, YVETTEADA. So ADA obviously stands for Americans with Disabilities Act, and I will be happy to post a link as well. But let me just explain to you, people with disabilities don't just sit home waiting for support from the government, because it's not there. There are not a whole bunch of grants, and there's not a lot of services. So take into consideration that what you see is not what you get all the time, and I would certainly be grateful to anyone and everyone who feels led to help in the area of disability and create more opportunities for me to leave the house and share this message.
All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. And again, for our listeners out there, no amount is too small. Whatever you could contribute is absolutely going to be appreciated. And like I said, after just a few moments of encountering Yvette, your life will be changed. I mean, I've been inspired, I've been motivated, and I am the life transformer. And she is just an amazing person, as you heard, as she shared with us. So Yvette, once again, thank you so much. Go ahead in the Facebook group, Be Your Best 2015, annotate your takeaways. Hit the share button, tell them how awesome it's been so far, and please continue to come back and offer your support. Continue to connect, continue to correct, and we'll continue to climb. So Lady D, I think I'm going to, at this point, turn it over to you so that you can, one, let us know if there's anything in the Facebook group, but also to tee up our next speaker, which is going to be, Lady D, are you there?
Yeah. Okay, not a problem. Let me check the group one more time before we move forward. That was just the last post out there. And again, Yvette, thank you so much for that, for carving out the time. And let me go ahead and pull up. We got a phenomenal speaker coming up next, Ed. So
Hey, bye everyone.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said bye everyone.
Bye, Yvette. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And one more thing, yeah, we need to post Yvette's information for her crowdfunding account, so I'll get that. So for everybody that's out there who's interested in giving to Yvette, I can definitely post it in the Be Your Best 2015 room, and you can find the link there. As Ed mentioned, no amount is too small. She's in a 3-story house without any legs, as she mentioned earlier. So I'll get that information out there for you. But before doing that, I want to tell you we have a phenomenal speaker that's coming up next. And I'm sitting here just reviewing his bio, and he has so many accolades. I'm like, I don't know where to start. So I'm going to just go ahead and share the information with you so I won't rain on his parade nor take a lot of time, because he has some information to share with you that is going to change your life. And he's known as the Unstoppable Coach. That's how I met him. I didn't even know his name at first. I just knew that he was unstoppable, and he was known for saying, have an unstoppable day. His name is Terrence Leftridge. Terrence was born in Chicago, and his goal was actually to go out to help people, to empower people, and he loved to entertain people his entire life. He grew up in the Catholic schools. He graduated high school. He actually performed as the mayor of Chicago in front of hundreds of eighth graders to playing the #1 high school band in the city of Chicago at the legendary Soldier Field. Terrence is also great in front of audiences that they met him then before they met him, and that goes back to him being able to, or having the dream of empowering and inspiring people. Terrence also has a degree in organizational behavior from the University of Illinois. He's certified. He is the founder of, I told you, the Inc., where the #1 goal is to help his clients live on the next level by partnering with them on their journey to creating, implementing, and achieving their visions. His work transitioning from working traditional jobs and help them to start. He teaches them how to be better marketers, better networkers, build stronger relationships, and to have greater exposure, which is important when you're trying to grow your business. Because you can be the smartest and the best coach, but if nobody knows who you are, your business is not going to grow. Professional coach works with people to the next level of their greatness. He has spoken at live and virtual seminar events across the country. The Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence audiences, as a result, increase their circle of influence and generate leads. Terrence is married to an ex-husband for 12 years, and her name is Sharon. So with that being said, and no further ado, Mr. Unstoppable.
Hey, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine, Coach T.
All right. It's an unstoppable day, family. Thank you so much, Ed, and thank you, Lady D, for that great introduction. I am Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leftridge, with Unstoppable Coaching Services. And I would be remiss if I went any further without saying a heartfelt congratulations and honor to Miss Wheelchair USA, Yvette. It was a great performance that you just gave us, great presentation full of great content, and I really loved how you talked about celebrating your disability. As a person who has been working in the nonprofit world for over 20 years, working with physical disabilities as well as mental disabilities and people with substance abuse challenges, that really resonated with me, that you're able to celebrate your disability, not be brought down or stopped by your disability. So thank you so much for providing that information, and I hope you're still listening, and I hope you know that you are unstoppable as well. With that being said, I thank Ed and Lady D for once again allowing me to share their platform. You know, family, this social media and the internet is just phenomenal, and it has unstoppable opportunities to partner with like-minded people, with thought leaders like Ed and Lady D, where you can share your thoughts and share your platform and as they say, connect correct, and climb. By being able to connect with Ed and Lady D, I've been able to correct some things in my business, and I've been able to see different approaches on how to reach the masses the way we are today, so that my business can climb and that I can reach more of you, so that you can live your lives on the next level. So I thank you so much for the opportunity, as always. As I said in the beginning, I'm Terrence Leftridge, and I am the CEO of Unstoppable Coaching Services. Now, when you say the word unstoppable, and when I call myself Mr. Unstoppable, sometimes people raise an eyebrow, and they say, well, how do you get to call yourself Mr. Unstoppable, and why did you come up with that name for your business? Well, it's as simple as this, ladies and gentlemen. I got tired of being stopped. I got tired of being stopped by my finances. I got tired of being stopped by my own fears and my own doubts. I got tired of being stopped by the different jobs that I had to get up and go to each and every day. And yes, family, I've even been stopped by different family situations and different family members. And I just got tired of that. So as I started my business in 2009, I wanted a business name that really resonated that desire to not be stopped by any of those situations anymore. And if that's your situation right now, I just want you to put in the Facebook chat room that no longer will I be stopped. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. Let me say that again. No longer will I be stopped. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. So when you break down the word unstoppable, it has three different syllables. It's got the un, and it's got the stop, and it's got the able. And when you switch those words around, then you find out that you have created the sentence that basically says you're not able to be stopped. And that's what I want to spend a little bit of time with you today in giving you some tools and giving you some ideals on how to not be stopped as you go towards making your vision a reality. So we're going to be talking about some old school as well as some new school ways to make your vision a reality in 2015. So are you guys ready? If you are ready, put in the Facebook chat room right now, I'm ready. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. Go ahead, I'll wait, because I know there are people out there that are ready to turn their vision into a reality. And while you're doing it, look above your head. You'll see the Facebook like button. You'll see the Twitter like button. Go ahead, be adventurous, be unstoppable. Click both of those buttons and say that Mr. Unstoppable is on the air right now. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. And let's take this journey together so that you can create the vision and make that a reality in 2015. So, ladies and gentlemen, as an accountability coach with Unstoppable Coaching Services, my target audience is mostly men. But what I'm going to be talking to you about today is as well for men as it does for women. You see, my mission is to show men how to take charge of their lives by overcoming obstacles, by improving not only their life skills, but their business skills. And what I really love is to help them with their video technology skills, like what you see happening right here on this broadcast. But then I also want them to gain confidence as an author, as a speaker, or as if you want to be a coach, just like some of the people that are on this show today. I want you to know that you can be, and you will be, the provider and the supporter created by God that you were intended to be. Yes, with my help, I'm hoping that every man I encounter will be unstoppable. But that's another conversation. Today, I want to talk to everyone who's either listening to this show live or listening to the replay, which I hope you will do, and I hope you will share with all your friends, because as we continue to connect, correct, and climb in 2015, there's room for everybody to get on this train. So share Share this information with whoever you know that needs to learn how to connect, correct, and climb in 2015. So, family, behind every great achievement that has happened in life, it's begun with a vision. And if you look at the definition of the word vision, it says the act or power of anticipating that which will be or that which may come to be. Another translation says seeing something you are not before you are. I like that definition the best. So vision is defined as seeing something that you are not before you are. And Yvette said it in her presentation that she looks forward instead of looking back. She spends 80% of her time on the solution and 20% of her time on the problem. That's powerful. That's some unstoppable thinking right there. You're spending time on the person that you are, the vision that you have for yourself, as opposed to spending such time on the person that you may have been. You know, family, a car was meant to go forward, and you can't move forward in life and get to your destination in life if you continue to look back. Here in Chicago, we've got this great monument called the Sears Tower, or they call it the Willis Tower now because Sears sold it to a private investor. But for a long time, Chicagoans like myself, it's still the Sears Tower. And when it was even thought about in 1970, before the first brick was ever laid on the foundation, there was a vision. And there was a vision for this building to be the tallest building in the world. But that vision began with that first brick. And that's what you have to do in order to make your vision a reality. You've got to start with the first brick. And after it was finished in 1973, it became the world's largest and tallest building, and it remained that way for over 25 years. Look at another example. Before the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and before the Constitution in 1787, there were men that had a vision of what America should be and what America could be. But before those great documents could occur, they had to have that vision. You've got to have that vision. But family, what you've got to realize is that in order for a vision to become a reality, you've got to put some work into it. Because a vision without action is just a dream. Let me say that again because somebody missed what I just said. A vision without action is just a dream. You probably dreamed last night. You probably dream 2 or 3 times a week. You dream about a destination that you want to go to. You dream about the dream job, or you dream about the dream career, or you dream about the dream relationship. But until you put some action behind any of those dreams, it's still just a dream. Family, I have a great dream. I dream of my summer home. You know, I've been born and raised in Chicago, and I've lived here all my life, and I still think that this is the greatest city in the world. But right now, it's about 5 degrees outside. This city ain't too great today. So I often have this dream of where I would spend the winter months when Chicago gets too cold and there's too much snow for me to deal with. And so I can see it like it's happening right now. I can see myself on some tropical island, maybe Jamaica, maybe Aruba, maybe Costa Rica. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I can see myself in my villa that I own with me and my wife and my dog Sheba running around. And I can visualize the hardwood floor in the living room, and I can see the white silky curtains flowing in the nice summer breeze through the French doors. And I can see the French doors leading out to the sun deck and leading out to the sand and looking over the Atlantic Ocean with palm trees and nice ripples coming through. I know you can see that right now too. That picture is a wonderful dream, and I've had many restful nights because of that dream. But as I sit here right now, it's still a dream. Now, there may be different variations, and you might be at different stages of your dreams if you've put in some action into making that a reality. For me, I've gone to some of these destinations. So no, now it's no longer just a figment of my imagination. I know it actually exists. I've actually been able to go into rental properties in Aruba and in Jamaica and in Cozumel, Mexico, and I've seen these hardwood floors. I know there's a place where this villa exists. I've seen the white drapes, and I've seen them flowing in the breezes, and I've seen the French doors open up, and I've been able to walk on the sand of those beaches. So I know it exists. So I know I can have it because I know it's more than just a dream. But ladies and gentlemen, for me to have that, there's some things I'm going to have to do. And in order for you to have whatever your dream is, for your dream to go from a dream to a vision to a reality, there's some things you're going to have to do right now. And we're going to talk about those things. One of those things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to give life to your vision. Hey, somebody, give life to your vision. Then you're going to have to do what I call some VCAs daily. And we'll talk about it when I get to that point. But then finally, and most importantly, you're going to have to be accountable to turning those dreams into that vision, into that reality. And by the time we get done with this conversation today, you will know how you can turn those dreams into visions, into realities. Are you ready to go on this journey with me? If you say you're ready to be on this journey, then put in the Facebook chat room right now, the Be Your Best 2015 Facebook chat room. Put in there, I'm ready, Coach T. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. And again, all throughout this broadcast, I want you clicking on that Facebook like button, that Facebook share button, and that Twitter button, because we are giving out some unstoppable information on this broadcast this Saturday. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're investing in being your best in 2015. Now, with each one of these three things we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give you an old school way of doing things and a new school way, because I know we've got a whole cross-section of people on this call right now that are looking to live their best in 2015. So let's talk about the first thing. The first thing that I want you to learn how to do, the first task, as you will, the first unstoppable task, if you might, that you need to do to turn your vision into a reality is that you've got to give life to that vision. Someone post in the Facebook chat room, give life to your vision. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. Let me just get a swig of water, because as I told the group, I'm unstoppable, but that doesn't mean that health challenges don't continue to come into your way. So I've been getting over some illnesses earlier this week, so bear with me as I continue to bring this powerful information to you. In the past, giving life to your vision simply meant taking a pen and paper and writing the vision down. Getting clear about your vision, making it specific, and getting it out of your head. And some things, old school, still work today. The bottom line is you do have to get that vision out of your head so you can start taking action towards making it a reality. Now, family, I just recently finished my first book, and you can see it behind me. It's You Are Unstoppable, 11 Key Attributes to Living Your Life on the Next Level in whatever it is you want to do. But let me tell you, that was not easy. It took me 3 years to write that book. Now you're saying, Coach T, why did it take so long? Well, first of all, it took so long because I procrastinated. As we talked about earlier, we talked about I'm unstoppable because I decided I didn't want to be stopped anymore by my fears and my own doubts. And I had fears and I had doubts that what I had to say, nobody really wanted to hear. And you might be having those same fears and doubts in your life, but I'm here to say to you that your book, your speech, your skill, your service may not be for everyone, but there is someone who needs to hear, who needs to see, or needs to have that service that you have to offer. So put that in the Facebook chat room. Your thing, your blank may not be for everyone, but someone may need your blank. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. I had to realize that I wasn't writing the book for everyone in the world. I was writing the book for that person that was also being stopped in their life, like me. I was writing that book for the person who didn't know what the next steps were, but was looking for someone to journey along with them to find out the skills, to find out the techniques, and to find out what it took inside of them to be unstoppable and live on the next level. So a lot of what I did had me overcoming some personal things in my life, but also I was doing it the old school way. For 2 years and 8 months out of the 3 years it took me to write the book, a lot of it was right here in my personal journal. But it wasn't until I figured out a new school technique and I got attached to a new way of thinking that I was able to crank out the rest of that book within 3 months. And in January of this year, the published book came out, and it's on Amazon and it's on my website, and we'll talk more about that at the end. But the point is, you can do it the old school way because you may be a writer. You may love to write. You may love to get those thoughts out on pen and paper and see the ink and see how you wrote it and to flash back on what you're thinking at the time you wrote it. But here's a couple of new school options that I want you to consider. A new school option, in order to get those things out of your head, is simply, where is it? Right here. God has blessed us with people and technology that allows you to do great things. I have an Android phone. You may have an iPhone. But over the last 3 years, smartphones have become so common and so easy to get that almost everybody has a smartphone. And they come with different apps. And some of the apps on there are just phenomenal. And one of the apps that I was told about by my author coach, which is a whole new technology that I wasn't aware of 3 years ago, it has a voice app on here. And I'm going to give you a couple of different voice apps that you might have on your Android phone or on your iPhone or whatever smartphone you might have that maybe you haven't considered when it comes to getting those thoughts out of your head. You know, the great author Michael Baisden had a national radio show a couple of years ago, and the one thing he would say over and over and over to new entrepreneurs, new authors, people who were trying to get out of the business and to get into their own careers, he would say to them, you know what, everywhere he went, he had his digital recorder with him, whether he was in his car, whether he was on a plane, whether he was walking through the airport, whether he was sitting in some part of his room. He always had his digital recorder with him so that if a thought came in his head, it wouldn't be lost there. He could take it out of his head and put it on his digital recorder, and then he could go back and listen to it. And not just go back to listen to it, to listen to the words, but to listen to his expression when he was talking about the words, or to think about where he was at the time where that thought came into his head. So here's a couple of different apps for voice recorders that you can use. One is called Easy Voice. That's the one I use. It's a free app on Android. Don't know about iPhone because iPhone is the devil as far as I'm concerned. But That's a whole other conversation. Android's number one. So Easy Voice is by Digipom, Digipom. Another app is Smart Voice. That's also on Google Play and Android, or look in the App Store if you have an Apple phone or iPhone. And then Google Camera. You know, Google has their own line of phones now too. So if you look up Google Camera, that's a video app, and you can use it whether you have a rear-facing phone or front-facing phone. So these are great new school ways where you can give life to your vision, where you can speak life to your vision using audio and video. So if you're old school and you just want to write it all down, or if you're new school and you want to dictate it or you want to do a video about it, the point is you give life to your vision when you get it out of your head and you put it out into the universe. It allows you to hear how you felt as you talked about your vision. Video allows you to see your expression as your face and your mannerisms, and you get to really see for yourself if this is something you're passionate about or if this is just something that's going to be a passing thing. Or so you get to know where you stand in terms of that vision, and then you'll know how much effort or desire you're going to put in to making that vision a reality. So that's the first thing. Give life to your vision. Old school, write it down. New school, record yourself, whether you're doing audio or whether you're doing video. Let's move on. Task number 2, in order for moving from the dream to the vision to the reality. Unstoppable task number 2 means, and it says that you've got to do something daily. Now, I might have said that a little bit low, so let me say that again so that you get exactly what I'm trying to say to you today on Be Your Best 2015. You've got to do something daily if you want to move that dream into the vision, into the reality. This is a quote that I love to say, I love to share with everyone, especially those people who feel like you've got to have all your ducks in a row before you can do anything, or it's got to be perfectly set up before you step out and make something happen. Many times we end up doing nothing because we try to do everything when all we have to do is something. Let me say that again. Many times we end up doing no thing because we try to do everything instead of just focusing on something. Ladies and gentlemen, if you spend each day of your life focusing on what I call the VCAs, and the VCAs stand for Vision Creation Activities, then you'll find bit by bit, little by little, that dream fades away because that vision takes hold, knowing that the reality is on the way. But you've got to start today. You've got to start right now deciding what you are going to do today. What VCAs, vision creation activities, can you do today to push your dream into the realm of your vision and then move the vision into reality? Think about it. And I want you to post it in the Facebook chat room, Be Your Best 2015. What one thing can you do today? What one VCA, vision creation activity, can you create today to make your vision a reality tomorrow? Because that's what it's all about. We're moving forward. We're not looking back. VCA, one thing that you can do today to make your vision a reality. Here's an old school one. You've probably heard about it. It's nothing new, and that's the beauty about the content that we're sharing with you today. Nothing new under the sun. Everything that you're going through right now, someone else has gone through before, and they've had to deal with it. And they've come up with strategies, and they've come up with plans to make it happen. And they shared it with us, and now we're sharing it with you. Vision boards, family. Vision boards. You know, taking out the 6x9 or the 4x8 cardboard paper and getting 20 or 30 different magazines and clipping out pictures and clipping out quotes and writing down your vision on that board and then posting it somewhere where you can see it so that it's a daily reminder of what it is you want to be. I've got vision boards right off camera here in my office, in the lab, as I call it. I've got a whiteboard behind me so that I can pull up a vision at a moment's notice and map it out and see what it looks like. That's the old school way. But family, if there's an old school way, then yes, there is a new school way. Somebody in their infinite wisdom created the website Pinterest, Pinterest.com. It's a virtual vision board, and it allows you to do the same thing that you do on the poster board with the magazines and the scissors and the clip outs and the quotes, but it allows you to do it virtually. You can set up different boards for different visions that you might have, because family, we are unstoppable. We don't just have one vision, we have many visions. The key here is to work on one, finish it, complete it, and then move to the next. So you can create as many vision boards as there are visions that you have. And you can see the end game by creating those visions. And it's something that you can look back over and over again. You can put it as a screensaver on your desktop or your laptop. Yes, you can actually put it as a screensaver on your phone or your iPad, things that you walk around with daily. You can send it as a text picture to you once a week, twice a week, so that you have that boost to make it through the end of the week, where you're continually working on your vision. That's the key, family. In all these tasks, we're getting it out of our head, and we're putting ourselves in a position where we can continue to work on our vision so that it will become a reality down the road. Because again, a vision without action is what? Yes, it's a dream. And we don't want to dream anymore. We don't want to dream in 2015. We want to be our best in 2015. Somebody put that in the Facebook chat room. I don't want to dream anymore. Be your best 2015. So another old school way is to take a picture of that house. You know, when I was coming up, when I was younger and I was working on my visions, they always said, take that picture and post it on your refrigerator or post it on your mirror so it's the first thing that you see in the morning. Well, in 2015, we have gone virtual all the way. And so now you can just drive up to the house and stand behind the house and take a selfie. Yes, indeed, family. Take a selfie of you in front of that house. Go to the car dealership and take a selfie of you in front of that car, that dream car that you want to have. Yes, indeed, family. You can go to the bank and just ask them to show you a $100 bill or show you a stack of $100 bills so that you can take a selfie, knowing that if you have that selfie now in your phone, you can look back on that picture each and every day, and you can see who it is you want to be. You know, when I wrote my book and when I got it published, we just had this event earlier this month that Lady D and Ed were a part of called the 72 Hours of Power. Now, family, if you missed that event, then you need to ask somebody. That was the event of the year. Thought leaders from across the country and across the world streaming together, standing shoulder to shoulder, hanging out in break rooms, listening to each other talk. It was fabulous. But what I loved about it is it showed me possibilities. I was able to take pictures with my book, with the number 6 motivational speaker, according to the National Speakers Association, in the world in the room with Dr. Willie Jolly. I was able to then take another picture with the number 16 speaker in the world, according to the National Speakers Association, with Delatoro McNeil. And I was able to stand with great thought leaders and great sales strategists and marketing people, and you name it, I was there. What I thought was just a dream years ago was a reality today, because I knew that that's what I wanted to be. I knew that's where I wanted to be, and I put steps in place to make that happen. And it started out with just taking a picture of being around the people that I want it to be. So take a picture. Old school, post it on your refrigerator, post it on your mirror. New school, take a selfie, walk around with it in your phone. Another thing that you can do something daily, is go to events like this. You know, back in the day, you would have to pay thousands of dollars, literally, to be among the likes of Lady D and Ed Womack on a Saturday afternoon. It's their weekend too, but they are giving back to you at no cost to you. All you had to do was click a few keys, register, give us some information, and you're here right now. Back in the day, you would have to drive to an event. You'd have to pay those thousands of dollars at the event. You'd have to look for the right seat so that you could see them from the stage, and you'd have to get close enough so that you could hear it. And maybe, if you were lucky, you'd get to shake their hand and have a conversation with them. That's the old school way. And family, the old school way still works. Look in your community today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and find an event. Find a workshop to help you with your sales strategy. Find an event that talks about marketing. Find an event that has the people, the like-minded people in the field that you're trying to get better in, or the field you're trying to get your foot in the door to. Find that event and go be a part of it. If you're looking to be a better speaker, then look for your local Toastmasters or your local chapter of the National Speakers Association in your community and go join. Do something daily so that you can turn your vision into the reality you want to have tomorrow. So that was tax number 2. And then finally, and this one is by far, in my opinion, the most important one, the most important task, the most unstoppable task that you need to pursue today. And that's just being accountable to making your vision a reality. Somebody please post that in the Be Your Best 2015 Facebook chat room. Be accountable to making your vision a reality. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. Accountability is defined as actions towards or involving others that reflect the integrity of the person you want to be. Actions towards or involving others that reflect the integrity of the person you want to be. Basically said, it's something that you have to do with someone, something you have to do to someone, something you have to say to someone, something you have to engage with someone else in order to show your integrity for what it is you say you want to be. So by definition, you cannot be accountable by yourself. Too many times we don't tell anybody about our dreams, we don't tell anybody about our visions, we don't tell anybody about our goals, so that when we don't reach the goals, then there's no one else to be accountable to. But oh, ladies and gentlemen, when you tell just one person that you want to lose 10 pounds in the next 6 months, or you want to have this dream car by the end of the year, that person, if that person is really engaged with you, and that person really cares about you, and if that person really supports you, they're going to call you on the carpet if that didn't work. And they're going to call you on the carpet even before that time frame comes. Are you doing this? Let me help you with that. Hey, you need to be putting that chocolate bar down if you're talking about losing 10 pounds in the next 6 months. Whatever it is, when you share those goals and those dreams with somebody else, with an accountability partner, then you're more likely to be successful in reaching that goal. But it starts with you being strong enough to be accountable to making your vision a reality. Who are you going to be accountable to for creating your vision? Who is the person you visualize yourself being? Ladies and gentlemen, no one can have your dream or create your vision for you. You have to be accountable. So many times we lose our vision because we keep it to ourselves. So I encourage you today to find one person that you trust and that you know's got your back, and let them know what your vision is. Now, I'm not saying talk to the naysayers or talk to the dream killers or talk to the people that have no vision of their own, because that's not going to help you. That's going to be the person with the crabs in the barrel mentality that's going to want to pull you back down to where they are so they can still have somebody in their party. No. Find somebody that you trust and you admire that's going to stretch you, that's going to move you from where you are to the next point where you need to be, and then who's going to continue to partner with you until you reach that reality. If you don't have anyone in your life that you can think of specifically, then at the end of this conversation, I invite you to continue the conversation with me. I'll be your accountability partner to help you move from your vision to your reality. But here's the old school and the new school techniques for making this happen. We already talked about talking to a friend or talking to somebody that you know. That's the old school way. But I'm going to give you a new school way. And again, it comes from technology. It comes from the internet. There's a website called stick.com, stickk.com. And it's a website that helps you set your goals. It also helps you put a time frame in to be accountable to, and then more importantly, it allows you to set up a consequence in case you don't reach that goal. So it's a double set of accountability. So take, for example, we talked about losing the 10 pounds in the 6 months. So you'll go to stick.com, stickk.com. It's a free website. You put in your information, and then you create a goal. And then you create that 6-month time frame. But now here's where the hard part comes in. Because in order to reach any goal, in order to make anything successful, you got to have some skin in the game. So it makes you set up a consequence. And a consequence that's going to hurt more than if you reach the goal. That's what you want. You want a consequence so bad that making this goal is no longer an option. You know, Delatoro McNeil says, how bad do you want it? Do you want it so bad that you want it as bad as your next breath? How bad do you want to lose that 10 pounds? Do you want it as bad as your next breath? Because that next breath isn't guaranteed. So you know the value of having that next breath. Do you want to achieve this vision as much as you want that next breath? That's the new school option. Stick.com. You can set it up. It's a free account. So another old school way of being accountable to yourself, to reaching that goal, is that you could just take a calendar and circle a date on a calendar. That's what we used to do before the internet and before all this technology came along. You know, we'd have a calendar. I've got a big calendar on my wall off screen where I put all my dates on it. I put all my events on it. I put all my activities on it. But I also put on time frames when I want to reach something and to achieve something. And here's just a side nugget for you. If you've got a calendar and it's blank, then you're closer to the dream than the reality. Let me say that again. If you've got a calendar, whether it's a physical calendar or a virtual calendar, and you look at it and it's blank, you're closer to the dream than you are to the reality. So that's the old school way, putting out that calendar and circling a date and writing that goal on that date. And then you go back and you look at that calendar day in, day out, and you mark your incremental successes. Okay, so maybe month 1 you lost 1 pound. Month 2 you lost another pound. Maybe month 3 you got a surge of energy because it got warm outside, and now you've lost 3 pounds. And then 6 months down the line you can say, hey, on this date, I have achieved my goal. I have lost the 10 pounds. And it's right there in writing. And now you can pop your collar and you can pat yourself on the back because you saw not only the destination, but now you can look back and see the progress, how you moved from a dream into the vision, into the reality. That's the old school way. But here's the new school way. Again, the internet is a fabulous thing, and there's this website called futureme.org. Futureme, all one word, .org. And it's a website that allows you to write yourself a letter. Write a letter to your future self. So if that goal, again, is to lose 10 pounds over the next 6 months, you go to futureme.org, free website, sign up, and you would write your letter. Hey, Terrence, 6 months from now, I am fabulous. I am beautiful. I've lost the 10 pounds, and I look great in my new suit, and I hung out with Ed Womack, and he taught me how to tie a bow tie, and so now I'm flexing the bow tie, and I am unstoppable. And you type in that date. And what futureme.org is going to do, futureme.org is going to email that letter back to you on the assigned target date that you set up in the website. Now, how would it feel for you to get a letter from yourself showing the progress that you made in your life? Oh my God, sometimes do you know just how it feels to receive a letter and have that letter have praise in it or say nice things about you, and it's coming from somebody else? Well, just imagine if that letter has come from you and you have reached the goal that you set for your future self, and now the future and the past have come together into the reality of today. Family, it's just unstoppable, but it's possible. It's possible for you to move from your dream to your vision to your reality. So in closing, family, I want to share with you that we've just talked about a couple of old school and new school ways where you can turn your dream into the vision, into the reality, so that you can live an unstoppable life and be your best in 2015. But none of that is going to happen unless you do one thing. And that's take action. With every speaker that you hear today, I don't want you to just get caught up in the entertainment. I don't want you to just get caught up in the content. I don't want you to get caught up in what I call the hangover. And then after the last person speaks, after Lady D smiles that beautiful signature smile, after Ed hits you with his great closing phrase, if all you do is click the off button on the computer, then we just wasted our time. You've got to take massive action on everything that you've heard today in order to move that dream into a vision, into a reality. I don't want you to settle for less, because why would you ever settle for less when you can be unstoppable? Now, family, that's my time. I'm Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge with Unstoppable Coaching Services. Ed Womack, Lady D, as always, thank you so much for sharing your platform with me for just a little while on a cold Saturday afternoon in Chicago. And here's to living your life on the next level.
Coach T. Per always, we thank you and love you, man, being the man of vision that you are. I mean, the nuggets were so plentiful. I just got to share a couple of them that hit home for me, especially the VCA, visually creating action and being able to have something to do on a regular basis that actually gives us some encouragement, gives us a way to be able to visualize what that is that we need to move forward with. And another nugget you dropped out there was a vision without action is just a dream. I love that one. I mean, you did the thing today, as always. I mean, that's nothing new. But the boulder that you just dropped on people's head was, if you have a calendar and it's blank, closer to your dream than you are to your reality. Man, you did that thing, and we are just so grateful once again to have your unstoppable qualities come and bless our audience today. And we will continue this path of connecting, correcting, and climbing. And before we go, tell our guests how they can keep in touch with you, because we certainly have been capturing things inside of the Be Your Best 2015 group, but this is a joint effort, and we want to certainly make sure not only do we continue the movement of Be Your Best 2015. We also want people that may resonate with some things that they said to know how to get in touch with you. So, Coach T, how can our users, our audience, stay in touch with you? If you would give us your contact information, please.
Hey, okay, thank you so much again, Ed. The best way to get in contact with me is through my website, and that is www.unstoppablecoaching.com. That's all one word, unstoppablecoaching.com. And I invite you to go visit that website and click on the free downloads. Sorry about that. Click on the free downloads page because you got two exciting ebooks there, right there. One talking about getting motivated and staying motivated as you move to going to the next level. And then the other one is talking about having unstoppable confidence. Unstoppable confidence, because that's what we need to do this kind of show. That's what we need to step out and turn our dream into a vision and make it a reality down the road. It starts with that confidence. So pick up those free downloads while you're there. And just one last shameless plug, also while you're there, you can get my new best-selling Amazon book, You Are Unstoppable. Click on that page, and it's got more goodies, more content of the skills and the attributes you need to live an unstoppable life in whatever you do. So unstoppablecoaching.com, your one-stop shop to living the unstoppable life.
All right, Coach T, thank you so much. And please, please, please post it in the group. Pay it forward. Hit the share button. I know somebody's heard something that was valuable to them today, either between Yvette or Coach T so far, and the party ain't over, y'all. We got more. How about that? We got Demetra Moore, otherwise known as Lady D, who's about to come to the mic. And, sometimes I'm a poet and don't even know it, and I just bust another rhyme with that one. But you know what? We're going to go ahead. Right. I know y'all loving it back there in the green room, but it's all good because that's what we do here at Connect, Correct, and Climb. We come with great content. We come with awesome people that are helping each of us to live, to grow, and go into that unstoppable level, that unconsciousness, being intentional about moving beyond where we might even imagine we can. And so without further ado, I'm going to take the honor, the privilege to introduce to you all my co-host, the fabulous Lady D, who's going to share with us today from some of her key topics. And today's topic is going to be fear is valid, but it's not real. And when she brings her message, it's oftentimes interwoven with various statistics. She's spoken to over 200,000 people. Internationally, at conferences and seminars. She's just a delightful person, not just because she's my co-host, and I tell her all the time, she's like the little sister I never had. And so, without further ado, I present to you all Demetra Moore with Fear is Valid, but it's not real. Mic check, Lady D, are you there?
I am. Mic check. Ready to rock?
We got some latency going on there.
Mic check. We're good?
We're good now. There we go. All right, Lady D, stage is yours.
Mic check.
Your mic is good. Your visual is not playing too well with us.
Okay, that drew me in. So yeah, that was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I got nuggets from that as well. And I must say, you said that statement with such heartfelt passion, and I just love the way you delivered that. That was my biggest takeaway. So thanks. Fear being valid, but it's not real. And it's just a life lesson that I learned. And please go to the Be Your Best 2015 chat room if you've ever felt like you just couldn't move. You were paralyzed simply because of fear. go to the Be Your Best 2015 chat room and say, fear is valid, but it's not your best 2015. And I say that because so many of my clients, and I'm quite sure for those of you who are out there listening who are coaches and speakers, have heard people say, I'm so scared, or I'm afraid. They don't have a valid reason to be, but it's not real. So if fear has ever paralyzed you or a member of your family, go to the Be Your Best 2015. Is real. I mean, it's valid, but it's not real. And I want to tell you a little story about me and how I came to understand that, but it's not real. When I was a kid, I want to say I was probably about 6 years old. I was at the beach with my family. We were having a great time. It was our family. I'm building sand castles, just enjoying the life of a kid. And I'm just out there playing on the beach. My brother says, let's go in the water, let's jump some waves. You know, let me teach you how to jump waves. And I'm excited because before then I can't ever remember going to the beach. So, and picking up seashells, and just a beautiful day at the beach with my family. And then it all changed. When I woke up, I was on my back. The beach was standing over me, and my parents were crying. Some guy was pumping on my chest. I don't know what happened. I went from playing on the beach, jumping waves, picking up seashells, to everybody staring at me as I lay on the beach. Now, think about that for a second. You may not have been laying out on the beach, but you may have tried something new in your life, and you felt like it knocked you flat on your back when things didn't. And it could have been something extraordinary that you dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, but and something came so quickly into your life that it knocked your back, and you don't even recall it happening. If that was you, definitely go to the Be Your Best 20. I can relate. Hashtag. That day forever changed my life. You all out there are probably wondering what happened to her. That day, I almost lost my life. I don't remember it because it was so traumatic. I think my brain, I remember being in the water. I remember picking up seashells. But after that, I don't remember anything else. My parents were crying, and just seeing the devastation upon my family and all of me was something I will never, ever forget. Forward, I never wanted to swim, never wanted to get in the water. Anything past my ankles, I was kind of like, no, I don't want to do it. And I realized as I got older that fear was controlling my life, which goes back to my topic. The fear is valid, but it's not real. As I moved on in my life, my mom sent me to camps and tried to get me to take swimming lessons, and something about that water being around my waist made my heart race, my palms sweat, my throat close. I felt like I was going to die. Yeah, and I said around my waist. Not like it was where I could breathe it in, but it was around my waist. That fear was controlling me. And for you all, it may not be swimming. It could be the fear of trying something new, the fear of stepping out on the skinny branch, the fear of putting your emotions in your heartfelt press, much as it paralyzed me. But as I got older, I tried to ignore it as if it didn't exist, and my mindset like I control my life at least itself. Until one day I went on vacation and I decided, but not even thinking that you have to learn how to swim. So I signed the waiver and I go out there all the way out in the ocean. It was the Dominican Republic. And I decided to keep telling myself that I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Until I got out there, I put the snorkel gear on, the flippers, the little glasses so I can get in the water. And before even being logical about what I just did, yeah, the fear was valid, but it wasn't real. And you guys are probably thinking, like, why did she just dive in the ocean if she knew she couldn't swim? Well, I figured face it head on. I've been, running from it for 30 plus years. Why not just do it now? Today is the day not to. It just made me more terrified because I had that feeling that I felt when I was 6 years old. My heart started to race. My eyes started to, it was throbbing. And the tour guide had to take me out of the water. So now I'm embarrassed in front of everybody that was on the boat because I could not swim. And the fear, once again, it paralyzed a portion of my life. So I came back and I decided to change everything about that trip. It would no longer paralyze me. So I decided to go to the local YMCA. And when I got there, I was terrified to stand in the water. It was only 4.5 feet, and a tug of anxiety pulling at me. And again, that day was the day I took that first class of swim lessons. And the coach that taught them was extraordinary. And then I was so fearful that I had to take it again because I didn't do a lot of teaching initially because I didn't ease into it. And for you that didn't catch those takeaways, the first one was I had to realize that the fear was valid, but it wasn't real. And the second one was I had to hire a coach. Yes, at the YMCA, I had a swim coach. He worked with me day in and day out to overcome that fear. Now, keep in mind, the pool was only 5.5 feet deep. I'm 5'5", so there's no way I could have drowned in that pool. But that first class was a way that I had to learn to face my fears because I was tired of making excuses. So I had to hire a coach because I no longer wanted to be a part of the 60% of people ever had to face that. So for you all out there who are looking to step out on the skinny branch and looking to create a VCA as Brother Terry, or looking to fill those dates on your calendar, or simply failing because you don't know what's out there. Again, the fear is valid, but it is not real. And for those who are fearful of failing, Delator McNeil said it best: failure is not an option, it's a privilege reserved for those who try. And let me say that again. Maybe it did not sink in because so many of my clients and people that I speak to are so worried. That's what paralyzes them, the fear of failing. Fear is not an option. It's a privilege reserved for those who try. And another person said that failure is like fertilizer. It stinks, but it grows green people. So think about those things the next time you're paralyzed by fear. Hire a coach like I did. Face it head on. I took 2 swim lessons under that guy. And at the time when I left, I was able to swim on my back. Hey, I was making progress, right? I was off. But the second thing I realized was, again, you got to ease into it. I didn't just go dive in a 12-foot pool. No. I went to the shallowest at the YMCA. Because most of us are fearful at the big things that we see. We don't take things. So it becomes overwhelming to us. Then it becomes paralyzing because we can't imagine that we're able to achieve. But like big successes, Rome wasn't built in a day. The world wasn't built in a day. Even God took a break on the Sabbath. God took 7 days. He took a break on the Sabbath, but just think that we're looking to achieve, but they're done step by step. And Will Smith said it best when he said his dad told him that he needed to rebuild the brick wall outside of his store because a man knocked it. Dad, how am I supposed? Dad said, brick by brick. So it's valid, but it's not real. So if you take steps day by day, you'll be able to face your fears. And the other thing was, again, I told you to ease into it. You got to take action when you're feeling fearful. And that was something else that I learned as I took swim, about 5 sets of swim lessons. And that's no laughing at me. But guess what? Today I'm able to swim. That part of my life no longer controls who I am today. That part of my life is done. I'm able to swim today. And for you all, again, it could be something as simple as reading at a networking event. It could be trying something new, embarking on a new career, going back to school, investing in yourself, hiring a coach, in a house, having a family, building new, be tons of things. But you have to take action in the face of fear. And you have to go all in. And I'm not saying just jump into it. Like I said, I didn't jump into 20. I eased into it. But there's one thing that you guys are probably going to laugh at me, which is fine if you do, because once I learned how to swim in that 5.5-foot pool, I thought I was the queen of the pool. But I was fine as long as I could stand up. And my security was still in me being able to stand up, not go all in. I didn't want to go where my feet couldn't touch the ground. And much like many of you, I just couldn't imagine my feet not being able to touch the ground. And for you, again, it may not be in the pool that you're worried about your feet touching the ground, but you may be thinking, oh, that conference I want to go to, I don't know about that $500. I don't know about hiring. I don't know about that, because again, when you get in deep, your feet and not on the ground. You have to simply rely on your skill sets and trusting the rapport that you've established with that person. Ease into it. Hire a coach. Build strategies and ways to develop so you won't let the fear paralyze you. So that last set of swim lessons that I took, of course it was another coach, because the first one I had taken 2 or 3 lessons under him. I had outgrown it. I was still able to walk. Like I said, I'm 5'5". The pool was only 5.5 feet deep. I could a way that I could drown. Takeaway. Once you're comfortable in the pool, it's time to move to a bigger one. Once you're the sharpest knife in the drawer, it's time to move on. Another saying is, once you are the biggest fish in the lake, you got to keep challenging yourself. That 5.5 feet pool was my goal. I felt like I had mastered the art of swimming. Yeah, in 5.5 feet, right? You guys are probably laughing, but 5 hours. Cool. And for you all today, if you're in a situation in your life and you don't have any worries about what's next, then you're not growing. You're not challenging yourself. You should always challenge yourself to move forward, to grow, to be the best person that you could possibly be. If you're no longer challenging yourself, you're not giving your brain a job. And I heard someone say one time, anytime we say I can't or whatever will happen for me, your brain stops thinking of how it could happen for you to go on vacation. Think about that for a second. You just said, all right, brain, I don't need you to think about this. Go on vacation. Well, if you did do that, as of right now, you got to start thinking about how, when I'm going to do this to accomplish this goal. What does it take to get to this conference? What strategies can I implement? How can I change what things that employs your brain? Most of us are using less than 10% of our brains anyway. So why not employ the rest of it and do something great in your life? Because then it will start to see that, again, the fear is valid, but it's not real. It's not. And just so you can think about, I think Terrence mentioned earlier about procrastination, how he could have gotten his book put out a long time ago, but he procrastinated. People procrastinate as a result. Oh, I can't handle it. Well, you can't handle it because you admitted that you said to yourself, you can't handle it. Your mind does exactly what you tell it to do. When you tell it it can't handle it, it shouldn't. Now it's time to command your self-conscious, command your mindset to work in a positive manner for you. To keep moving, because again, the fear is valid, but it's not real. If you had surgery today and they cut you open, they will never see fear. And then we love to say, oh, it's in your mind. Fear is fake evidence appearing real. It's not real. So stop letting fear paralyze you. And I mentioned earlier, 60% of us fear things that will never, ever happen. 30% of us are that. Well, that's not true either. I could have never learned to swim if I would have went off the 30% of my mindset saying that, hey, you almost drowned, hey, you almost died. Might not need to do that again. Well, here's the thing. Most of us say we win some and you leave her. You win or you learn. Put that in the Be Your Best 2015 chat room. You win. Because when something doesn't go exactly how you thought it was supposed to go, sit down, revamp, look at what went well, start to build a network each out. Just look into it, because you win and you learn. You don't win some and you lose some. And learning gives your brain a positive connotation to move forward. When you lose, lost. So there's some sort of negativity that comes along with it. We don't need to add any more negativity into our life, in our subconscious. No need to add to it. So you win and you learn. That's the best way to look at it. And have some faith about it. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skill sets. Know that the things that you want and desire and dream about in your life is possible. I've said it. Yvette said it earlier. Ed said it. Everything that you dream about, you can achieve. Terrence broke it down with his possible. It is possible. The good book says, asking it shall be given unto you. Knocking the door shall be open. Seeking you shall find. Martin Luther King says it best. Faith is can't see the rest of the staircase. Who do you need to hear say it? Think about that for a second. And someone else said, if you let fear dictate your life, you'll never be the person that you were destined times. I mean, and I'm sharing the quotes that I say to myself on a daily. Fear is valid, but it's not real. So let me recap on these takeaways. Number one, ease into it. Don't just dive into 12-foot pool. This coach. The third one was take action in the face of fear. And I want to leave you with my closing quote. It's by Jim Carrey. It says, most of us choose our path in life based on fear disguised as practicality. But in all actuality, it's possibly out of reach and unrealistic for it. And I want to pause right there. You never dare to ask for it, but the good book just says, asking it shall be given unto you, seeking you shall find, knocking the door shall be open, but you never ask. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm the proof. Ed is the proof. Terrence is the proof. Yvette is the proof. People in your house right now, you are the proof that you universe for it. So I'm challenging you today to ask. To simply ask for it and understand that fear is valid, but it's not real. Thank you.
All right, Lady D, there you have it, Miss Demetra Moore.
Mic check, Ed.
Mic check, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, awesome, and thank you ever so much, as always, for bringing the heat and bringing a message of total inspiration that fear is valid, but it's not real. And we oftentimes converse back and forth about it, and I'm just so delighted that you were able to bring it in such a clear way that related, and hopefully our audience and our participants that are joining in for Be Your Best 2015. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask you, go ahead, click a button up above, share this with someone that you know needs to hear one of the 3 or 4 messages that have already been delivered tonight. Share with someone that you have encountered that may need to have that little glimmer of hope that's re-engaged. Share it with someone that you may not even have encountered just yet. So share it on your page. Share it in a group that you might be a part of. Go over to the Be Your Best 2015 Facebook group and annotate what your takeaways were. Let's give that virtual applause to Demetra Moore, to Coach Unstoppable Terrence Leffridge, to Miss Wheelchair USA Yvette Pegues. And before we end the day, I want you to just really think about the common thread that you've heard today in alignment with our mantra of connect, correct, and climb. Do we have all the answers? By no means. Do we have the only answers? Certainly not. And are there things that may be brewing within you that you need to go ahead and release so that your greatness can be provided to those that are in need of the gift that only you possess? I tell you, today has been just another phenomenal occurrence on Be Your Best 2015, and it's such an amazing thing. You know, I just want to share a little bit. I'm not going to do a formal presentation today in the interest of respecting our time, because Demetra and I kind of made a conscious decision. You know, we're so grateful and so respectful of the time that people share with us. We don't want to abuse that. And so today we're going to stay consistent to it, but I do want to share a few things with you. As we continue to be of service, we obviously want to also extend the opportunity for you all to be able to further advertise your businesses and services, even if you're not a guest. Formally, you'll see around the outside of the instant broadcast that there are advertise here stickers, and you can certainly connect with myself or Demetra Moore by simply clicking on either one of those. Posted in a Facebook group, we monitor those constantly. But again, we're not in the business of trying to just necessarily be talking heads. We want to build a community, build a movement of helping people and others move to be the best that they can be in 2015. I want to share with you an experience I had last weekend. I was blessed with the opportunity to speak at the Male Empowerment Conference here in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was an all-male conference, and oh my goodness, it was such an energy in the room, and the attitudes that were there were such fuel to the altitudes that are possible. You see, the keynote speaker was a judge by the name of Mawali Davis. One of the other speakers was Dr. Maurice Beasley, who's the director and the superintendent of education and curriculum and practical learning. There was Mr. Cornelius Stafford, the president of the 100 Black Men. All of these were individuals that were there on a Saturday amongst several others that were there to continuously pour into the males in our society. And I also got the opportunity to hold a breakout session on altitude drives your attitude. And without going into a formal, in-depth presentation today, I want to impart upon you a few words of wisdom that will hopefully allow you to walk away from here with a renewed sense of how perhaps we can understand that fear is valid, but it's not a reality. How can we get beyond the point of having a calendar that's empty, that has us sitting in a position that keeps us closer to our dream as opposed to closer to our reality? One of the things that a great person that I tend to look at said, move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you're willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. And that was in the words of the great Brian Tracy that said that. But again, I mean, I want you to go ahead and post it in the Facebook group even. You got to move out of your comfort zone. Because the only time that you're going to actually realize any type of growth is when you become comfortable with feeling awkward and uncomfortable. You see, everything that you've heard today in one shape, fashion, or form indicated that the comfort zone is not where success occurs, and success is relative. It is not necessarily the same for everyone. Success to me could very well be just waking up every day, and in fact, that's what I typically tell people to ask me, Ed, how you doing? Like, I'm awake. Everything after that is a bonus. You know, I look back on different things that have occurred in my journey, and for those of you who know me, you know, I've had some peaks and valleys in my life, but that's okay, because when I adjusted my attitude and was able to dig deep and realize that the things that had occurred in my life, the failures, I like one of the things that Demetra shared with us, she said, failure is not an option. It's a privilege for those of us that have tried something new. For me, that was a tough pill to swallow because of the various failures that I had encountered in my life. What failures have you looked upon and not forgiven yourself for? Listen to this. When you fail, it's an opportunity to grow. Go ahead and post that into the Facebook group, Be Your Best 2015. When you fail, it's an opportunity to grow. Hashtag Be Your Best 2015. And what we have come to realize is along this journey, there's going to be different folks that are going to speak into your life. There are going to be times where you might find yourself at your wit's end, and it's okay to reach out for help, to get that instruction, to get that guidance, to get that ear that's willing to listen to what you may have gone through, what you're going through. Whether that is the desire to go and start your own business, whether that's the desire to go back to school, whether that's the desire to try and embark upon a new career, whether that's, and you fill in the blank, because we don't have all the answers, as I mentioned to you. But one thing that we do know is this, that your altitude is driven by your attitude. And before we close out this evening, again, I want to thank all of our guest speakers that came on today. Miss Wheelchair USA Yvette Pegues. Again, go out to the Facebook group, and if it's in your heart, no matter how small, go ahead and contribute to her GoFundMe campaign. This is a lady that has been serving others endlessly without any expectation. And in fact, had I not even mentioned it, she probably wouldn't have on the call. That's just how humble she is. But she's an awesome person doing great work in our community. Coach Unstoppable, thank you so much for taking time out of your weekend. Lady D, as always, we continue to march because the entrepreneur's light never goes out. It may dim sometime, but it doesn't go out. And I leave you with this, which is how I like to, in all of my shows or my opportunities to be blessed with speaking, is good, better, best. We can't let it rest until our good is our better and our better is our best. We'll see you at the top now because the bottom's entirely too crowded. Go ahead, post in the Facebook group what takeaways you got from the day, any encouragement or comments. Share it with your friends because next month we got some awesome stuff for you coming up. Lady D, should I go ahead and tell them who we're going to have on next month?
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, I think you should tell them.
I should tell them? Okay, all right. She twisted my arm. So we have gotten verbal commitment from one of the most awesome storytellers on the planet, aside from our coach, Ruben West. He's pretty good, but this guy, he's pretty awesome. But our coach, he's the best. Ruben West from Black Belt Speakers, he's the man. But we have one of the best, who's also a protege of Les Brown, along with his lovely bride, Dr. Cass. We've got Andy Henriquez and Dr. Cass that will be our guests on next month's Be Your Best 2015. March Madness don't get too much better than that, folks. And we're just going to continue to connect, correct, and climb. And until we see you next time on Be Your Best 2015, don't just live an okay life. Live an unstoppable life. On behalf of Ed Womack, Lady D, Demetra Moore, Coach T, Terrence Leffridge, and Yvette Pegues, Miss Wheelchair USA, we'll see you at the top now because the bottom's entirely too crowded.